Sometimes things in life they're slightly out of sequence, but usually it doesn't matter because you can resequence life any way you want. And that's the beauty of editing the human experience. So right now, why don't we just resequence the Astro Weather? I'm Robert Phoenix, and welcome to it. Yeah, it's supposed to be happening. Let's try it again. There we go. How was everybody today? We get to talk to you about something that I don't normally do, but there is a professional kind of crawl for that, right? The old voiceover. How is everybody? How's everybody doing? Let's do a little check-in here. We got Julie Sunshine 333, Barbara Boots. Oh, challenge your bank account payments. Well, we hope you get resolved soon as well, because we don't want other people having challenges with your bank account payments. Let's see, Misbehavior 2's here. Mary Grether. Hi, Mary. Oh, Mary Maggs loves the thumbnail. Yes. We're in the jungle tonight. That's right. Let's go, says Dead Wolf Resistance 13. And we're on it. Janine is here. Ule Kobe. Bill Smith. Hello, Bill. Adidas 99. Peace, love, and chat. Adidas. Lena Winkler is here. They're clearing out, getting it gone for me. Hope things are well for you. And well, I hope they are as well. You always have a choice. You always have a choice. And when I say that, I mean you have a choice in terms of how you respond to things. Astrology, the recent Saturn and Pisces return was relatively calm. Does that mean Saturn coming back to Pisces to kick our asses this fall? I don't know. It depends. I mean, if it was the second Saturn return is not that big a deal. The first Saturn return, that's always going to be personal. I feel like we have a bit of a reprieve with the Saturn retrograde. It's at 25 degrees. And it stations at 25. It goes direct in December. Neptune's also retrograde during that time as well. And if we're looking at it from a quote-unquote mundane perspective, for me, that just screams mRNA and vaccines and big pharma, and the bigness of it, the size of it, it's rolling backwards, right? It's like the machine is rolling backwards, literally. And I mean, when you get Neptune and Saturn retrograding, both in Pisces, those are the degrees, particularly the latter degree of Neptune. Those are the degrees that lead up in Pisces, Saturn in Pisces, right? Those are the degrees that lead up to Saturn in Aquarius. That's where we were with COVID, with Saturn in Aquarius. So by going into Saturn in Pisces in that 3-year period, that's sort of the wind down of the COVID period. And then as we return to that 25th degree, that's where Saturn will ultimately go retrograde. I feel like that's where it's going to break. If we're looking at that Saturn retrograde and with Neptune, Like, how can it not? There's just so much evidence that comes out now every single day about how people were lied to, how people were forced. I mean, you guys know the score. It just seems to be getting more traction. And I don't know if, are people really ready for the truth around that? I don't know if they are. Because that's what Saturn retrograde would bring. Would bring truth. Like staticky. Let's see. Try that. That should be better. Thank you. Let's see. We got yeah, that should be better. We're using a legitimate mic now. That's what I see. I mean, we just live in such a weird fucking world where all we get is evidence upon evidence upon evidence. And how many people do we know? Do we read about? How many people in the scientific community know? I mean, it's just absolutely absurd that we're still dealing with this, disastrous pantomime of a so-called disease that happened like 5 years ago now. I mean, it's just bullshit. So that's what I think. I feel like that's sort of where we're revisiting that crime. The Saturn retrograde, Pisces. That's all big pharma stuff. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. Let's see. Liddy Lou from Bikini. She's here. Hi, Liddy Lou. The Machine Elves Assemble. I've been watching. I don't know, Secret. You have a camera in my living room? I've been watching Datura, DMT, ayahuasca, anything that people take and trip their brains out. I've been watching a lot lately. And machine elves are certainly on the menu. The bee suit, what's going on? Jackie Delario. Big Dave Sullivan's here. What's up, Dave? Susan. Let's see who else we have here. The lovely and talented one. Audio's we fixed that. We should have a good signal, a much better signal. Hi, Catherine Rosen and Carol Amore and Laura E. and Maya Rose and Amy Gill and Mary Ducina and Steve, aka Thor by the Door, Stephen the Piscetarian. Feels like fall. I can kind of feel that. Hey, Jeff Rosen videos here. Look at that. Kabuki Theater. What's up, Bo? We got Gucci the Goats. We got we have a Tom sighting in here. Yeah, I guess so. Let's see who else. Grant. What's up, Grant? It's like people forgot the regular flu still exists. Whatever that is. Gucci the Goats. What's up, Gigi? Let's see. I think we're caught up. I think we're Devin Dewar and Soul Traveler. I might have missed them on the way down. Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're good. So, hey, look, if you like the show, hit subscribe, hit the like button, and don't forget to get notified. Because every time we do the show, you will get notified. It is time for the weather. I mean, it is literally now time for the weather. So let's get it on. Let's bring the weather into the present moment in time. How did everybody stack up last night? Did you get all cozy last night? I had some good feedback from some people that took the cozy advice, and they slept very, very well. They had They had a solid containment last night, which is good. So we have the moon about as balsamic as it gets without being in the next sign. So it's right there at the edge of Cancer. Bada boom, 24 degrees. So again, it's another one of those sort of, cozy puddle cuddle. It's the 11th house. Let's get to the rave. Yeah, I mean, come on. This is very hallmarky. It's funny how malarkey and hallmarky kind of sound alike. This is very hallmarky. This is very sentimental. There's a lot of sentimentality in the air, right? Like the moon in Cancer in this balsamic position. It's like leaving something behind. There's a melancholy and a bit of a sadness to it. But the thing with the moon in Leo when it's balsamic, it's interesting because first of all, we know that it's completely like waned. There's nothing left, right? But there's that spark of life with Leo. It's just dormant, right? It's just absolutely dormant and ready to light up like neon. And it feels here that there is a little darkness, right? There is a little darkness in this 48-hour period, from here to here. So we're talking about like Friday morning. So when we come in on Friday, we get this, we're going to get the new moon, and it's going to be in Virgo, right? So we're going to have the moon, the sun, and the new moon also. And that's very, very different energy. That's very, very different energy. And it feels like this is a really good time to relax and play. And come this weekend, there's a whole new vibe that is setting in, and it's getting things done. I have this sense here that people are going to feel quite compelled to accomplish a lot, and the areas of accomplishment will be things like getting shit done around your house, whatever it is. It could be really mundane, or it could be, like this. Believe it or not, this would actually be an interesting time to invest in solar energy. And you would think that it would be in Leo. Well, yeah, there's some truth in it. But in Virgo's the conversion, right? This is just pure energy. But Virgo is the conversion. So if for whatever reason, over the next 48 hours, you wanted to invest in some kind of solar apparatus, whether it's panels on your house or your own solar like little system, or it's a good time for it. There's a real sense of energy and practicality, and some people will think you're a kook with that squirty Uranus. It's okay. Let them think you're kooky. Oh, there they are again. They're prepping. They must be prepping. But there's an urgency. There's something about this new moon where it's almost like keeping this light alive, right? We know right here that's where it really goes into that balsamic mode. It's in Leo, so theoretically it's got this relationship to inner light, but it's almost like keeping the spark alive during the dark ages. It's a weird thing to think about, especially over the next 48 hours or so. right? That it's a mini model of the Dark Ages. And then there's this reemergence of the moon and the sun together. And we're also in we're getting ready for a lunar eclipse. That's going to be, 2 weeks out from that, when the moon is in Pisces. And then we got the big solar eclipse coming in on the 21st at 28 Virgo. So the denouement, the final eclipses of the Pisces Virgo season. And again, I wonder just how much of this, like Saturn retrograde stuff, will play into that, and what will be exposed. It just, we live in a world that's just completely insane. I mean, if you really just think about it, I mean, just you sit down, your little cup of tea, watching the black ground squirrel, and the amount of denial that exists on a professional level, we'll say the press, on a personal level, people in your family, friends, just the administrative denial. There's just so much denial across the board, right? And we have somehow conditioned ourselves to almost like live during wartime. Doesn't it feel that way? You know, like we've been through this war, and we've conditioned ourselves as to kind of how to live and not get too high and not have too many expectations, because, who knows when the other shoe's about to drop, and who can you trust or believe anyway? I mean, we're living in very strange times, and it really impedes people from being human, because a real human would look at that whole situation with this Saturn retrograde and say, do you see what happened here? Do you see what happened to all these people? Do you see all these records? They're called VAERS. Like, it's all there. And it's an indictment of our own insanity that we can't have a discussion around it where somebody actually cops to what happened, right? And that's not the only thing. Like, almost everything now reflects this complete insane inability to talk about something in a real way. Like this guy that got snatched out of the country from Las Vegas. It was like Netanyahu's right-hand dude, some cybersecurity thing going on in Vegas. And he's fishing for kids. And then he just gets to go. He just gets to leave the country. And like nobody says anything about that. Well, that happens every day, doesn't it? I mean, there's a certain point here where, like, people can live with a certain amount of denial for a while because it's a survival mechanism. If you talk to people who've been through regime change or wars, or they have to, there's a certain amount of denial. There's a certain amount of compartmentalization. It's not complete, but there are things that they have to adopt in order to get through a daily experience, where most of us, we don't have to do that. But now that we do have to do that, because there's this layer of abstraction that is, it's beyond toxic. It's pure insanity. It's absolute insanity. And then we want to sit down and want to talk about it. And then there's a new distraction, not even the topic of conversation. So we're in a tricky spot in this world, because I'm not sure how much more denial. So it's like a thing of it's like a sponge, and the sponge is full of water, and And that water's denied. That everything in that sponge is a social condition where we all know what's going on. We're pretty sure how it went down. We're mostly sure what's creeping around inside of people's bodies. And we're almost all in agreement that these effects are deleterious. And yet, nobody's having that conversation. That to me is insane. When you sit down and you look at what's happening in Gaza and the starvation and everything else that is happening there, I don't care if it's Hamas, I don't care who it is, I don't care if it's the IDF, and the rest of the world doesn't lift a finger. And the only true response is that it's insane. Because you would have to adopt some kind of insanity in order to spiritually and morally approve of something like that. And I feel like this moon, it's like it's going through the dark ages here in Leo. And it comes out the other side, and this new moon is very purposeful. So I'm going to go on a bit of a radical tack with the upcoming eclipses. My prediction with these two eclipses, they're all about purification. All about purification. So the lunar eclipse in Pisces is the purification of the spirit. Solar eclipse in Virgo is the purification of the body. And this is going to be interesting to see how this all goes down. As we move deeper into Pluto and Aquarius, and we have more of this, group energy at our disposal, how many people will just spontaneously decide, I'm going to eat better, I'm going to drink better, I'm going to sleep better, I'm going to meditate more, I'm going to pray more, I'm going to, whatever that true node and Pisces, this is sort of that launching pad. If we want to get through the next 3 years, these eclipses are going to be the propellant for us to be able to navigate both spiritually and physically the potential hardships for the next 3. Look, it could be great. We could all just ascend and, eat Ben and Jerry's forever and drink mojitos forever, and it's fine. Like that can happen. But it feels like these eclipses happening now are getting us prepared. Like get your house in order, get your body in order, get your spirit in order. This is an important, very, very important time. So that's just around the corner. And like I said, the next 48 hours with this moon in Leo, it's bright, but it's also dark. And it's like the dark ages. It's what it feels like. Don't fret if you feel lost. Just give yourself 3 days. You'll feel renewed with purpose in 3 days. We still have a grand trine going on. We got Mars, right kind of at the edge here now. Right. We have Uranus at 1, Gemini, Pluto at 2, Aquarius. We still have that grand trine, and I hope you're using it. I hope you're being creative and outrageous and forging new creative partnerships, which is really good for Mars and Libra, right? We got our old friend Mercury moving forward 9 degrees, sextiling Mars, coming over here, trining Neptune, trining Saturn. Maybe this is a day where you should write some sonnets or something. National Sonnet Day. It's very poetic. It's a very poetic kind of setup. even with the Pluto opposition, it's still poetic. It's a little more gothic in its poetic nature. I think this Saturn Neptune, I don't know what they're going to be able to do with Ukraine and Putin, and I just don't know what kind of traction any kind of agreement will have with Saturn and Neptune retrograde. I'm not feeling it. I'm not getting it. They may back into a deal, possibly. The only thing that, again, I think gets the little cokehead interested is if he is promised money. And I guess what, some kind of air support or something, like, please don't abandon us. Make sure that those nasty Russians won't fire missiles at us because of our agreement that we made. Isn't that part of the deal? I don't know. Again, it's something I find absurd and silly. You know, I understand that there are countries involved, or theoretical countries, and some longstanding feuds, no doubt, right? But I mean, just look at the players involved. You have Zelensky, who's a clown, who's a total clown, but probably is much more aligned with mob work. I'm serious, than actual running of a country. Besides being a clown actor, and then you have Putin, and Putin has looked like he's 60 for the last 30 years. Like, who the fuck is this guy? What is he? Do we even really know? Like is Trump sitting across from him, like negotiating with a fucking robot? Or maybe Trump's a robot too, and they're negotiating with robots with each other. And maybe that's how this goes down. I just can't see it. Not with Neptune, not with Saturn retrograde. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. Forge new alliances. Don't be afraid to be creative. Get out on the edge. Right? Say what's on your mind. Say it fairly. Say it squarely. Always ask if people want feedback. Okay, let's get into our True Hemp Science star of the day. We'll get the banners, the old banners up there. And today's True Hemp Science star of the day is Chesa Boudin. Now, you may be asking yourself, who the hell is Chesa Boudin? And that would be a really, really good question, because he's not a very popular individual. But when you find out about him, you'll say, that's an interesting star of the day. First of all, let's talk about True Hemp Science. And how about a little Solara? I can do that like the commercial music. The True Hemp Science, they've created a whole line of CBD products that not only take care of your needs right now, but they're tending to you in the future. That's right. Solara is setting up a relationship with your cells that are connecting in the moment, but are also busy building blocks of health and well-being for you as you take it every single day. So Solara from TrueHempScience.com, one of the many elixirs that you can get there. And all you got to do is spend $100 or more, and you'll get a goodie bag. Yeah, you'll get some of these. These are the old gummies right here. And you'll get maybe a little vial of this. I can't show you. but maybe get a little vial of that. Hey, listen, it's sort of like rum running. It's like the guys in the old, I don't know, the old NASCAR cars before they were NASCAR cars. And you open up the back, you go, look at that. We got moonshine. Look at that. You got the little thing in there. That's part of the goodie bag. Anyway, $150 more gets you free shipping. And there's always a 30-day money-back guarantee. TrueHempScience.com. All right, let's talk Chesa Boudin. Now, this guy is, it's weird. I really started looking at him last night. And I felt sorry for him. I had this moment of pity for Chesa Boudin. Well, okay, so Chesa Boudin was elected as the district attorney of San Francisco, and this is at the height of woke, right? So we're somewhere maybe 2018, 2019, right around there, right? Like he dominates the election and he is going to essentially change all of the theft laws in San Francisco. He's the guy that basically says, hey, if you steal $100 or less, we'll get you a little misdemeanor ticket. It's this guy. He's the guy that sets it all up. So who is he and what gave him the theoretical balls to do that? His parents are members of the Weather Underground. And I believe Boudin is one of their last names. Anyway, both parents are still in prison because the Weather Underground were not nice people. And his two parents were involved in a bombing in Washington, D.C., and some people died. Well, it wasn't his fault. So his parents go to prison, but now somebody's got to raise them up. And who's going to do it? It's going to be Bill Ayers and Bernadine Dorn. So this guy is like, 2% of Kevin Bacon from Barack Obama. He was raised by the Ayers family. And you can see some of the high strange here. Like for the fourth house, you have this Moon-Neptune conjunction, right? And it's always interesting looking at the 12th house and the fourth house. And, is the 12th house prison-y? Yeah, it sure is. But then you get Neptune and the moon in the fourth house, which is, where the mother and the father are supposed to be. And feels like there's a bit of a prison effect going on here in the home, right? So his home life, his roots, they're different. His parents are not here, right? His parents are over here. But it's also interesting that he has Uranus in the fourth house. So what is Uranus? It's radical, right? So Chesa Boudin was raised in a radical environment. He was raised by Bill Ayers and his wife, right? I mean, so he's going to get this. And this is sort of the artificiality of the family with the Moon-Neptune conjunction. And there's a lot here that I'm sure that he doesn't even know about with this Moon-Neptune conjunction. And if he were to find certain things out, it would probably freak him out quite a bit. You can see that there's an utter distrust of authority with the Saturn-Uranus square, but also Saturn-Neptune square. He doesn't trust authority. And Saturn in the second house, and that's in Virgo. Like Saturn in the second house is a tough position. I think it's even tougher in Virgo. because you never ever feel like you ever have enough. You just never have enough. So this guy could have been raised in, some degree of luxury because the heirs were not poor. Um, but there's something in his spirit where he's thirsty, he's hungry, he just it's like he's kind of living off the scraps of life in some ways here. And like Saturn and Virgo, I think can be interesting in the second house. I mean, like if you really wanted to be a lawyer and work for the underclass with Saturn and Virgo in the second and work all these kind of selfless hours, yeah, maybe that would work. Maybe that would be a good thing. There could be some interesting things that come out of it, but I just don't think it's a very good position for Saturn in general, especially with these squares and the Saturn moon square, which is really about depression. I'm going to show you some pictures of him. He looks different, and there's parts of him where he looks almost goofy, like this. It's like he hung out with, what's his name? Chavez down in Venezuela and did like his notes and biography. And, he was Hugo Chavez's secretary for a while. That was one of his claims to fame. Like that's who mentored him. And he's got a forceful personality. The double Leo, he's got Mercury on the ascendant. Trudeau, I'm sure this is what helped him get elected. He's got a Mars-Pluto conjunction in Scorpio. Look at that. Coming in sextile. So the guy's got some charisma. The guy's got some power. He's got some juice. He's also got a great deal of insecurity. Huge. Big time. And he's got that Chiron right at the top of the chart, right there, right in Taurus. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, right around the time Uranus was transiting his midheaven, they kicked him out of being mayor of San Francisco. It was like he was terrible. Not mayor, I'm sorry. He was terrible. He was so bad. And the people who wound up ultimately kicking him out it was the Chinese. It was the Chinese community because they were also getting beaten up. Like there was a lot of yellow rage going on. This was just a few years ago. He's got Venus in Cancer, 11th house, great community organizer. I'll tell you that right now. You sextile that off with Jupiter. Like I can see where this guy could be on some level, like really, really effective. Really, but he's a goofy looking guy. And when I say goofy, I mean like he almost looks like a bit of a dork, and I kind of feel sorry for him. You know what I mean? Like he's trying to be somebody. Like he looks like a dork here. He's dorky. He's dorky there. It's like he doesn't really know who he is. He looks a little dorky. You know what I'm talking about? Like, yes, there's I'm the wistful young man. I'm the angry communist. I'm the even more angry communist. I am a man of action. But I am a bit of a dork. I mean, do you see what I'm saying? Like this, and they're really trying to portray him in a lot of ways as this, like super radical. This guy was going to be the next big star. He's going to land in San Francisco. He was going to be the attorney general. He was going to reform the police department. probably run for mayor, although that didn't happen because London Breed, who was just as bad as he was, she got the boot. It was the Chinese community who got him out. Okay, so let's see. I want to see what he. So we're what like Uranus 18 Taurus. All right, let's go. Let's do this. I want to see where Uranus was when he got the boot. All right. So let's go back to 2024. Let's see. We got Uranus, January 2024. Let's go back to December 2023. Let's just see what happens here. I want to see when he gets booted. It might have happened way before that. This guy's bad news. I mean, you can see it in his chart. They had a recall election. He was successfully recalled on the 22nd, June 7th, 2022. All right. Let me go back to 2022. I just want to see where Uranus was. Let's see. Shit. Right here. I'll show you. All right. So remember, it was June 7th, 2022. He got the boot. So right here, June 7th. Where's Uranus? It's at 16 Taurus, right? And where do you go? It's right here. Where do you go? Right there. See that? Right there. That's June 7th. Uranus, 16 Taurus. Boom. He's done. That's how astrology works. That is how it works. He got recalled. Uranus hits his midheaven, conjuncts his Chiron. The Emperor has no clothes. Amazing. So I don't know what he's going to do, but that was a major. You don't. Just, this guy is American domestic terror royalty. He had all the bona fides, right? All the bona fides raised by Bernadine Dorn and Bill Ayers, and his parents are in prison. And he spends 2 or 3 years hanging out with Hugo Chavez, and he is on the fast track, the fast fucking track. His next stop is mayor. And then eventually, where does this guy wind up? Governor of California. And he gets recalled. Very difficult for that to happen. And again, a lot of it had to do with the Chinese community because they're getting beat up. Nobody was doing anything. Their shops were getting ripped off, and they're like, fuck this guy. We'll get 55% of the vote. We'll get him out. But again, it correlates with that transit with Uranus right there, June 7th, 2022, Uranus right on his midheaven. See how that works? Right there. It starts to square Mercury. Not a good time. Not a good time for Mr. Chesa. All right. That'll do it for today. Look at that. 8:45. A crisp 45-minute show where we get right into it. start talking about the weather. We do a little start of the day. And look who's here. Look who's here. Oh, yeah. There he is. There he is. The old king. The old wizard king. That's right. You're still around. Even though Chesa Boudin is not, you are. All right. Have yourself a great day. I mean it wholeheartedly. Treat yourselves like you're the most important thing in the world, but without the baggage. And take care of each other. God bless. Love you all. Robert Phoenix signing off.